Hey guys, I'm going to be showing you my apartment garden today. I spent a lot of time getting my plants to where they're at, and I hope this gives you some inspiration on how you can have an indoor garden too. So to start off, I have my plants sitting on just a wire rack that I got from Menards for $100. And this rack has 4 shelves on it. A lot of the other racks have 5 shelves, but the reason I got the 4 shelf one was so that I could have room between my plants and the lights. Some of my plants are bigger, like my pepper plant, and I don't want them getting too close to the light and burning. On top of the wire rack, I put some wood, and on this shelf I actually just have kind of like a tarp. And there's 2 reasons for that. The first reason is the red solo cups are kind of smaller, and so when they're sitting on the wire rack, it's super easy for them to fall over. So when I have the wood on it, it's a lot less easy for it to fall over. The second reason is because my lights have a fan on top of them, and especially on my microgreens shelf, it gets super dirty, and I don't want the dirt falling into the fan and messing up the light. For the lights, I have the Faceta 600 watt LED lights. I got them off Amazon for about 40 bucks a piece. They're super nice because you can change the intensity of them, and you can also daisy chain them. For my microgreens, I have a different light, and these ones are called the Barina T5 LED lights. And those aren't as good. They're fine for growing microgreens and maybe lettuce, but I'd highly recommend the Facetas instead because they're working really good. As you can see, all my plants are looking super nice underneath them. On the top shelf, I have all of my microgreen trays and also a lot of my seeds that are just germinating. Like I have just some rock wool cubes in there and just some other seeds that are germinating. So to start off on the bottom shelf, this is black seeded Simpson lettuce. I started it on January 8th, and I've actually been eating it quite a bit. I'm going to have to harvest it really soon, though, because I don't know if you guys can see right over here. There's like some weird brown stuff on the leaf starting. Not really sure what's going on with that. But for the most part, I'm happy with what I've gotten out of the lettuce because I've been growing it for over a month and eating it. And the roots look awesome. I haven't refilled the buckets at all. So just cracky style, and it's going great. So for over here, so this plant right here is actually a bird's eye chili pepper plant, and this is growing hydroponically, and the water's getting a little bit low, so I'm going to need to refill that. But I have just a ton of fruits starting on the top, and so this is going to be a really beautiful plant. So over here I got some kale going. I've got some bird's eye chili peppers going, and I've got some spinach going. And I started these kale on February 7th. So for my middle shelf, I got my microgreens going. These are kale, and kale is super tasty in a smoothie with a banana. I have some different lettuce varieties that I moved down here to the shelf. This is the Grand Rapids lettuce variety, looking really good. And then behind that I have romaine, and the romaine's looking pretty good too. So I'm not sure how big these are going to get, but I'm going to let them grow as big as they'll get in these small cups. I also have a pineapple that I just bought from the store, and I'll sometimes just put like oranges or pineapples underneath my grow lights to let them ripen up. For my first plant on the top shelf, I have rosemary growing. I planted this on January 9th, and it's getting pretty big. Super happy and super excited to try out this rosemary. Behind that plant, I have basil going. I'm not really sure how I got bush basil in here because I planted sweet basil, I thought. But these are getting kind of destroyed by thripes. I sprayed it with some neem oil, and we'll see if it survives. I should actually maybe move that away from my other plants, but that's alright. Behind that, This right here is a Tabasco pepper. And I had this growing in a double cup method, just like this Tabasco pepper is growing. But the bottom where I bottom watered it was getting too big for it. And so I had to plant it in that old yogurt container, and that seems to work pretty good. Next up, I've got some hydroponic basil going. You can see how big that basil leaf is. That's what the roots look like. I'm using 2-inch net pots, and then I'm using just a vitamin C bottle with tinfoil wrapped around it so I don't get algae inside. I also have hydroponic romaine lettuce growing in the same type of bottle, and it's looking super good, and we'll see how big I can grow it in there. Next up, I've got parsley. Parsley is super tasty. I've been putting it in my eggs. It's looking really good. So I also have some opal basil going, and I have actually quite a bit of opal basil growing. This opal basil is a couple months old. I've harvested a little bit from it, but I'm expecting it to get quite a bit bigger. I also have a couple things of strawberries growing, and they're finally starting to get bigger. They were like these little tiny seedlings for honestly like months, and it looks like it's just finally starting to take off. I have 2 strawberries growing, and then I just planted another seed. This is my bird's eye chili pepper plant. This is my biggest pepper plant that I have going right now. I've got a ton of different little chilies on there, and they look like they're going to ripen up really soon here, so I'm super excited for that. I've got sage, another Tabasco pepper plant, more parsley, and some thyme. And that's pretty much it for this shelf. So I thought I'd bring over my bean plant that's sitting on my windowsill. I only have 2 beans producing on it. Actually, I think I saw a third one start today. Yeah, third one starting to flower today. But excited about the beans too. Alright guys, well that's pretty much it for my garden. I'll be making some more videos with updates, and I'm planning on making a video where I grow a couple different plants and curse 3 of them and bless 3 of them in the name of Jesus. And so if you guys are interested in seeing the results of that, go ahead and subscribe, hit that like, and I'll catch you later. Bye.